Right, I'm going to talk today about inventory management or stock management. The word's really interchangeable right across the whole thing. So if you can use inventory, I said that in a previous video, I prefer it for hire kids. But, oh, there we go, guy pops up again, never mind. So inventory management involves holding stocks in a factory or a warehouse, right? So you've got to think about stock turnover, how quickly it comes in, how quickly it goes out, okay? And when you order, when you don't order, all these sorts of things. So there are levels which you'll set. So basically just to ensure the fact you've got some key considerations, okay? So the four that we've got here are, how do you control the flow of stock? As I was saying, in and out, okay? And you never want to be too much, too little, right? Do you have sufficient storage space? So you think about the different places that will have different sizes, like Amazon super warehouses, as opposed to a local shop with a very small storage space. So it's what you can hold at the maximum. Obviously, we want to keep our cost base as low as possible, so you want to minimise waste. So that means you want to be efficient. And how central are we to our customers? So there's a question to be asked, are we going to be centralised, where we basically keep it in one place and fire it out everywhere, or are we going to have loads of different holding centres all around the country? You know, we call that decentralised. So again, I'll come on to these things later. So you've got to consider two things as well. What are the problems if you overstock or understock? Okay, so you've got to think about it. If you look there, that looks basically a big mess, for want of a better expression. But you've got to really think, is too much stock can result in high storage costs. What is the point of holding loads and loads of stock if it's maybe just going to go off, or if it's going to, you know, or you're paying money for it. You're paying money for heating, lighting, ventilation, security, the rent for the land. So you've really got to consider that, the maintenance of the property. Again, it's saying their products left could be spoiled or stolen. And stolen, yeah, it does still. People don't understand how much is stolen on an annual basis from places like storage warehouses, etc. I think I was reading that, I think, was it Aldi? I can't remember. One of these bigger supermarkets had said that they lose on average £4 million per year through shoplifting. That's a huge amount of money if you think about that. So yeah, just they're stolen, spoiled, things go off out of date, you know, especially foodstuffs and all these sorts of things. You know, they might go out of fashion. Alright, so again, you could be left what was the big thing over the summer. It gets to winter time, nobody wants that anymore. Alright, so again, cyclical fashion, you've got to keep an eye on things like that. All your money's tied up, so your capital's tied up in that stock. So you can't use that cash anywhere else in your business. It's just lying there in the, you know, in the form of goods. You know, fair enough, they could be sold, you know, to try and regain some capital. However, what if they have gone off? Or what if they have basically gone out of fashion? You're not going to get as much for them. Also, what about your cash flow in your business? So if you've got all your capital tied up in stock, you've got to be very wary, because you need to keep cash flowing through your business. Something we have covered off and we will continue to cover off and go through finance. And so you've really got to put in place an effective stock management system. That is basically all the way from your EPOS system, if you're looking at a larger retailer, right, straight all the way through to your storehouse management system, to your logistics system. So they've all got to work together, really, to make sure that you are producing and stocking exactly what you require at any time. Too little stock, what happens there? You've got nothing to sell, so it may stop your production, which may then in turn, right, leads to the third point there, customers going elsewhere. If you can't fulfill your customers' orders, why would they come to you? So you've got to ask yourself that question. So you end up with a poor reputation, customers going elsewhere, right? Loss of sales results in loss of profits. And I try and say to the guys all the time that if you go to a shop one day, and it's the shop you go to all the time, and you're looking for a particular thing, and they're like, sorry, I don't have it. But you're loyal, so you go back the next day. Do you have it? No, we've not got it. But you're loyal, so you go back for a third day. You don't have it that time, the likelihood is you're going to go somewhere else that's got the thing you're going for. And then the likelihood is that if they continue to stock that thing, then you will continue to go back there. So that first shop has lost their customer, right? And also they're going to tell their pals about it. So think about the reputation, think about the loss of sales, loss of profits, right? If you've not got the stock in, then it's going to really affect you. Admin costs, you need to order more often if you're running too low a stock. So you're constantly just at your minimum, and you're constantly trying to work that line. All right, so it's a very tricky road. And the other thing about it is you're not making use of economies of scale in relation to bulk buying. If you buy in bulk, you know you get discounts, you get it's cheaper per unit and all these sorts of things. So you really want to try and be as efficient as possible. And I always say, remember, it's about, to keep your profit margin going, it's about keeping your cost base low. Alright, so really interesting, really simple points there. So here we go with the old stock control model or inventory control model, whatever you want to call it. Right, here we go, your Y and your X axis. Make sure, as I say again and again, you must label your axis. You must label your axis. So we've got stock level up there and we've got time. Now this is interchangeable and will move on a constant ongoing basis dependent on various things like times of the year, right, and other such things. So again, what space you have. So what you're going to do is you're going to set, there you are, firstly a maximum stock level. And I'll come on and talk to these in greater detail later. But the maximum stock level is when you are the cost per unit is at its minimum. You are using your space most efficiently. Right? It will depend upon the size of the storage facility which you have and also your budget. What can you afford? When you have it at its fullest, you're obviously using the space to its maximum. Right, which means it's the most efficient. You're not paying for heating and lighting for a half-empty warehouse. So you've got to think about that. Right, so that's your maximum stock level. And again, there's your minimum stock level. It's your second line. And notice that it's not at the bottom. It's not at zero. It's set, and what we've got is we'll come on and speak about a buffer zone there, which is a quantity that you will hold. Right, so you set a minimum stock level. To go below that, you're in dodgy ground. Okay, you want to make sure you never go below that so you don't run out of anything. Alright? And then you see this blue line here, that's your reorder level. That triggers, right, the signal to your warehouse to get the stock from the warehouse into transport to start to come to you. So that is something, or goes to your supplier to say we need more of this. So the way I always say it is basically in Tesco across the road, when you beep, right, or when you beep through your can of beans or whatever, and it reaches, say they have a stock where they have to hold 15 pallets of baked beans. Now you take one which means there's 15 left. It beeps off and it goes straight to the warehouse, right? And what they do at the warehouse is then they say, Oban is looking for baked beans. We need to get that back up to 30. That's what they hold. So we can basically get that in the back of the lorry, and they'll get whatever else has been beeping through that day, and that's the reorder level. Once that's hit. Right, so there you go, there's sales. So sales are continuing and your stock is depleting on a daily basis. And then you hit your reorder level. Beam. That goes away to, your stock holding area. Right, reorder is triggered. At this stage though, you continue to sell. Right, so you continue to sell, right, waiting on your stock to arrive. Right, because you still have the stock in there. And what happens is your lorry arrives, or whatever arrives, and it replenishes your stock. Okay, so it takes it back to the maximum stock level, which is exactly what you're looking for. And that continues on, right the way along. And that will happen on a regular ongoing basis. The green lines which I'm putting in now, that's called your lead time. Now, if you live in the Oban, the Western Isles, the Highlands and Islands, you'll really understand what lead time is. It's the time from when you order something to when it arrives. Now, all the folk in the city are basically so used to next day delivery and all these sorts of things. Right? That doesn't happen up here. Right? It can take 2 days, 3 days, and it'll depend on the weather. So it's from when you order to when you receive your good. So you have to take cognizance of that when you are making your orders and setting your reorder level. Right? You also, as I was talking to the kids the other day, I was saying, you also will, the minimum stock level, depending on the time of year, will rise and fall. And that is because of the fact that, for instance, in the summertime, the minimum stock level for disposable barbecues will rise slightly. Okay, because there could be like a couple of really hot days. And you want, like Tesco will want to have those products for sale. Christmas time, right? Or in times of weather, somebody who's very good at logistics, right? In times of poor weather, they will look ahead at forecasts. And if there's heavy forecasts, right, what they'll say is, well, we'll better maybe take in some more stock at the moment, just in case our deliveries can't get through. So that is really, where we're looking at. There is a buffer zone. Now, I was talking about some of my colleagues on business ed teachers, and the explanation really for the buffer stock is that is the quantity of goods you hold as an emergency fund sort of idea. You know, you can dip into it from time to time, but if you're dipping into it on a regular basis, your minimum stock level is too low. So that's your rainy day fund, if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking about savings. You know, if you constantly are living beyond your means and having to dig into your savings all the time, right, then you have to look at, you're not running your life efficiently. It's the same with a business, right? You're not running your business efficiently if you can't stay within your 2 yellow lines, right? Because that is the time when you're doing well and running your business properly. If you keep dipping into that buffer stock, then that won't work as well. So basically it's just a case of making sure that you get everything organised and get everything sorted for buffer stocks, economic levels, and everything along those sorts of lines. So right, apologies there, that was one of my colleagues coming for a bit of a help. So inventory management levels, there it is written down for you. Do I have to go through this again? So your maximum economic stock level is the highest level of stock you'll hold in order. Minimum stock level, lowest level, shouldn't fall below in order to make sure there's no production shortages. Buffer stock is the amount of stock held to use in an emergency to cope with unexpected heavy demand or delay to delivery. And then what we've got is reorder level, when stock should be ordered in order to avoid it dropping below the minimum level, taking into account the lead time. Right? Reorder quantity, the amount of stock that is ordered to bring it back to the maximum level. So basically that's everything that I was going to cover off for you within inventory management. The next thing is just in time. So we'll cover that off in the next video. So I'll see you then.